he's a good communication person.
We're streaming. Let me see if I can figure out where to look.
Fame will do it.
Is it working okay?
I think it's streaming. I'm just trying. I don't have the link to check it. Not on the agenda.
Oh, it's not. This that says join meeting.
That's so all to be like votes. So.
My computer isn't going to give out here. Should have charged it before I left this morning.
I just automatically.
Oh.
I got the whole, well, it's printed out some changes.
Yeah. Good, thank you. I was looking at all the spaces.
Well,
and everybody always sits in the back, right?
Looks like I will be doing. I don't know when yet, how long.
Okay.
Part of it.
What'd you say?
Part of it too.
What's
Told
the
me
other
that,
part?
I will take the
Is that a?
form of bill.
Oh, so you're gonna do? They're gonna do the.
So.
But I mean,
I know.
there's gotta be good news on.
Where is?
How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Well, yeah. And people, you survive.
Perfect.
I mean, this is stuff that you work on.
Yeah. So has it metastasized anywhere? Okay. Good fun.
Ornament. Yep. Forgot ornament.
You've got a good outlook.
That's what he said. He says, you cracked me up. He said, I think you don't crack me up.
Well, you know, just call me and I'll come up.
Yeah, I know Rob will be with me, but yeah.
Just down the hall.
And I don't know how often, when.
Yeah.
70 kg liver biopsy. I know these days liver biopsy.
No, I've not ever had it.
You described it to me.
Oh,
Well, no, you wouldn't.
Ready? Okay. When's that? You don't know yet?
I'm hoping it's going to be this week. I'm sure, you know, I'm hoping it's going to be. I mean, I live this week. We're good.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we are good.
Oh, we are?
You're 6. Yep.
Wait a minute, where's I can actually use this? Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Huron School Board for June 19th. Thank you very much. To order, Mr. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Sinners?
Here.
Mrs. Hartley?
Here.
Dr. O'Fay? Mrs. Mast?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here. Now, would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, number 2 on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting agenda. So you see your motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. DeMarco?
Mrs. Mast?
Yes.
Mrs. Sinners? Mrs. Hartley?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, item 3 is community comments. And so far, I just have one, and Mr. Dick Schenk. If you'd like to, you can actually stay right there as far as I'm concerned. Just remember, look, be nice. He's a very good friend of mine.
Hey, I'm Dick Shank, class of 57, House Street School.
I was 2 when you were born, Dick.
I just turned 84. Anyhow, I got a little squad. I'm in the AMVETS, and we do. Gotta sit up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please do.
We do the cemetery and flags downtown. Plus, at House Street School and the City Hall. In the retail. Anyhow, kind of my job. I'm the commander of the AMVETS, which is we're just a paper post. We only got 6 guys left. Anyhow, I go to some pictures here. I'll leave with Jonesy here. The sidewalk is cracked, and it's a rotten shame on the front side of that's WW2. That may be good. Of the monument, it's just full of weeds. It was like this last year. Some kind of creepy stuff on the ground, crawling up in the bushes. I mean, hey, you know, I'm paying quite a few tax dollars. Pictures you can have, you sure Jonesy can get them back there. But I took some pictures Memorial Day of it. I mean, it's a rotten shame. I mean, you guys ought to be proudest of the school instead of just letting what you guys do with my tax dollars. But I think you ought to do a little bit more. And this little girl that got killed, that Zoe. I mean, the weeds are growing right up, almost up on her little headstone there behind the flagpole. You get a chance, Jones, you can get them back to me. But anyway, I hope the city or the school would do something. I mean, it's kind of degrading. I'm proud of that old school. I went 12 years there. So, and then here Mike was talking today about one of the letters is off the building.
Yeah.
I don't know. They call it McCormick. It's Ohio Street School to me. That's the best block.
Thanks, Mr. Schenk. I'm sure we can ask Dr. Tatman to look into the situation.
Yeah, take
Okay.
get out of your car. You gotta get up and look at it.
Yeah, right.
So it can't be a drive-by thing.
No. You gotta go there. There's probably it's the same flagpole back in the late or early 40s. And it's probably got this much paint on it because it's cracked. It's no big deal. I'm worried about the flag. That's rotten shame.
Thank you, Mr. Schenk.
Sure.
Please be careful going down the stairs if you're leaving. Are you going to stay?
I'm gonna listen to you. See what my tax dollars are doing there.
Oh, you'll be impressed. Okay, thanks. Next, item 4, the Huron Athletic Booster Club report. You're kind enough to come and speak with us tonight and give us some information ahead of time. Yes, just because there's a microphone there, please.
Okay, Thank you. I am John Ruff, president of the Athletic Boosters, and Amy Springer is vice president of the Boosters. Every June or May, we like to give the board a report of what we've done the previous year. We close out our fiscal year right around the end of June. So I just want to quickly recap some of the things. We usually concentrate on uniforms, equipment, and stadium facility stuff. So uniforms this year, we spent just over $10,000 on uniforms. We do have a rotation that we do, but we also have a lot of need stuff come up that falls in there too. For example, which is a great dilemma to have. Girls tennis had a lot of people out this year. They weren't in our rotation, but they needed new tanks. So we needed to do that. We're happy to do that. That's, like I said, that's a great dilemma to have. Probably the highlight of our equipment purchase, if you saw it, was in the gymnasium this year. It was the digital scores table that we bought. Amy did all the work on that, and her husband John set it all up electronically. And so then we can put pictures of the student athletes up there, scores, what have you. That was our big ticket item under equipment this year, along with some other kind of common things that go on. The volleyball hitting machine, we're trying to save what's left of Coach Wood's shoulder. So we had a hitting machine that we purchased and some other odds and ends. Facilities, the Adirondack chairs outside the stadium, if you saw those this fall, were out there. We went digital for the concession stand with some credit card machines and then other little things like mulch and some equipment. We're happy and pleased to award scholarships, $7,500 worth of scholarships to the class of 2023. And so that was kind of the summation of our year very quickly. And looking ahead, what we want to do is our concentration a little bit for the next year is going to be on continuing some upgrades that we'd like to do in the stadium. We want to finish the windows in the press box, take a look at the handicap ramp and what we can do with that, paint it. Probably also, which is in the very early stages, we're looking at the south main entryway, the outside fence. It's very old, and we'd like to get some kind of design or plan to upgrade that entryway and make it more aesthetically pleasing than what's up there now. And I've spoken to Mrs. Ryan to see if the art class at the high school could help us out with some drawings. Space is always an issue that coaches come to us for things to do, golf, hitting, hurdles, what have you. So that's something that we're always aware of, and I think comes up at every meeting that we have and will moving forward, is additional space. Understanding that the district is looking at their facilities, we're just kind of following along with that and waiting to see what happens. And that's really the summation for the year. Lastly, I'd like to thank Mrs. Mash. She's our board liaison, and she comes to every meeting, and she's very helpful to us. So that is our summary. Oh, and Amy she said she didn't want to talk.
Yeah, well,
She'll be short.
for next year, we are going to be adding an additional 50 hurdles, custom hurdles. So since the track team's here and cross country, you guys will be excited about that. And also, we're going to be replacing all boys and girls track jerseys as well. So just so I wanted to tell you guys all that since you're sitting here for the kids coming back next year. Little update, our golf scramble was June 3rd. We made just a little over 8,000 profit from that. That was a great hit. We had 37 teams. So we had one extra team that showed up. So that was a really great success. Our booster membership drive is Saturday, July 22nd, and our stadium cleanup is July 29th. Hopefully we'll be ready to go, and the weather will be good for the track to be open and stadium be open. I think that's about it. Yeah. Oh, last thing. Since we have the whole new fence that's around the new track, we are going to use mesh material. So I brought a sample so you guys can all see. It's going to be the same size, 3 feet by 5 feet. And this is kind of a sample of what the material will be for all new signs. So there'll be no more heavy aluminum anymore. This will go up right at the beginning of fall season, and we'll store them and they'll go back up. And if something fades, then we'll much easier putting up and down. Usually we'll advertising is all in one sheet now. It's on our website already, booster.com.
Anybody have no questions? Or no, just nothing? Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks, John. Thanks for what you do for us also. Okay. Item B, administrative reports. This is totally track tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much it's track. So at the end of each season, we have the athletic students recognized, and student athletes who reach the Ohio recognition level are ones that we invite to the board meeting. And so we have a large group from track. So I'm going to ask Julie and the coaches to help. I'm going to turn it over to Coach Lempinon. And are you getting up or no? Okay, so I'll turn it over to Coach Lempinon. Just read it off, say who they are and what they did. Yeah. All right.
Our first student athlete that's going to be recognized is Jackson Campbell for placing 6th in the 4x400 meter relay. You want me to do?
Yeah, so guys, come on up when he calls your name, and then afterwards we'll get you all behind the board and we'll take a picture. It'll be fun. I promise. Stay up, Jackson. Stay up. There you go.
Our next student athlete is Jaden Carey in recognition of being a state qualifier in the high jump. And she is also being given a certificate for recognition of being a state qualifier in the 4x100 meter relay. Our next student athlete to be recognized is Eliana Cozy in recognition of being a state qualifier in the 4x100 meter relay. I'm going to read the ones that are not here. Okay. Our next student athlete to be recognized is Andrew Delaney. He was a state placer in the 4x200 meter relay. He was a state runner-up in that event. Our next athlete is Kyla Garby. She is being given recognition of being a state placer in the 4x400 meter relay, 4th place. And she was also, I have to find it, a state qualifier in the long jump. I'm sorry, not long jump, the 300 hurdles, and in the 4x4. Which one did I give you? Okay. See a lot of Bo Harkleroads in here. I'll give it to you. Our next student athlete is Bo Harkleroad. He is getting certificates for being a state placer in the 110 meter hurdles, 6th place. Also for being a state runner-up in the 4x200 meter relay. Also for being a state runner-up in the 300 hurdles. And also for being a state placer in the 4x400 meter relay, 6th place. We said this at our banquet, but he's also the first Huron track athlete to ever place in 4 events at a state meet, guys or girls. So that's pretty awesome. Olivia Coleman is our next student athlete to be recognized for placing in the 4x400 meter relay. She was a 4th place finisher. Next we have older brother Tyler Coleman in recognition of being a state placer in the 800 meter run. He was 3rd place, and he was also a part of the 6th place finishing 4x400 meter relay. Next athlete is Sam Lesnick, and she was a state runner-up in the 4x800 meter relay. Also rebroke the school record on that one. And Tyler Coleman broke his own school record in the 800 at state. And I don't see him here either, but Cooper Norwell is being recognized as a state qualifier in the 4x200 meter relay. Next we have Kaylee Parker in recognition of being a state qualifier in the 4x100 meter relay. Next we have Connor Schaefer in recognition of being a state placer in the 200 meter dash. He also broke his own school record in that race from lane 9, which is not normal. And Connor's also being recognized as a state runner-up in the 4x200 meter relay, and also a state placer in the 4x400 meter relay with a 6th place finish. Congratulations. And younger brother Joe was also a teammate of Connor's on that 4x200 meter state runner-up relay. Congratulations, Joe. Next, we have Kennedy Schlesman. She's been recognized as a state runner-up in the 4x800 meter relay, and also placed 3rd in the 800 meter dash, I call it, and also rebroke her own school record. And then also placed in the 4x400 meter dash, 4x400 meter relay with a 4th place finish. Congratulations. And I believe last, nope, we got 2 more. Jaden Towns is being recognized for placing as a state runner-up in the 4x800 meter relay, and also a state placer in the 4x400 meter relay, 4th place finish, and also being recognized for as a state placer in the 1600 meter dash as an 8th place finisher. And last, we have Lucy Watson in recognition of being a state runner-up in the 4x800 meter relay. And that is all. And we also have boosters here, and we have Board of Education. I would like to thank you all for your support throughout the season, both financially and also just sharing the posts that we have out and words of encouragement and helping us with meals and things like that. It's we cannot do what we do without your help, and it is awesome to have that kind of support in our city because we got a lot of really good kids, and it's pretty cool to be part of it. So, thank you.
So, Coach, thanks for presenting. And you know, the state tournament is like the culmination of the track and field events, right? That's where we're recognizing you guys. But on social media, I saw this last weekend there was some travel to nationals. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we had a lot more qualify than actually went.
Sure.
But we brought 6 athletes down. Jaden Carey competed in the high jump. Kennedy Schlesman competed in the 800 and the 4x4. And we had Bo Harkleroad competed in the 400 meter hurdles, which he's never done before. He was like one of maybe 5 out of 50 that had never ran it before. And we also had 3 other members of the 4x4 girls relay, Jaden Towns, Olivia Coleman, and Kyla Garvey. And like I said before, we had a whole bunch of other events qualify, just weren't able to make it down there. But they did really, really well. It's definitely it's much different than a regular high school track meet. So they did really, really well. And Jaden, Carey, and Kennedy were the 2 that went last year that got to come back and make a second trip this year. And there are 3 national meets. This is the hardest one to get into. And that's kind of like a point of pride as well that they can carry with them is they went to the hardest one, and they all did really, really well. So, and I also would like to shout out my wife on the record, strapping a baby to her chest for 3 days and taking 4x4 splits and all that kind of stuff. So, thank you.
Congratulations, Coach. We're very proud of all of you.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for coming tonight. This is kind of my favorite part of meetings when we get to recognize students. So I think everybody would agree with that. Yes.
So if athletes, you can come just behind the board, then we'll take a nice picture of you guys.
And just coaches.
And coaches too.
Yeah. Please.
Bring up.
I bring it down.
You need to scooch down more.
Go back there, Ruffy.
Everybody should go get ice cream at the Rolling Stone.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Nice, thank you all.
Thanks for being here. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Olivia. Thanks for being here. Congratulations.
I get one just going up and downstairs. Can we just for a little bit? Sorry. Okay. I could take my jacket.
It's JAD.
Good to see you.
Spelled right on two of us. And then I am missing Kyla Garvey's 4x1 and 300 hurdles. That might have been my fault.
4x100.
4x100 and
Okay.
like that one.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. That was probably my fault. I probably forgot to send that to the Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mike. Not that other things we do aren't. Next is Assistant Superintendent of Academic Affairs, Julie. Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
And the new parts, if you will, I did put in the shared local rank that our competitive North Point fellows all put in. I know, there's everybody's gone.
I know.
Okay.
I thought they stayed for you anyway.
Well, it's all good. The kids are hard to follow.
I think they just got home too.
Right?
Like, were they there yesterday?
That's great.
So, well, before we can have athletes, we have to have students, right? And so they are bringing it home in the classroom, and I'm super proud of all the efforts that go into this because nobody goes into education saying testing is fun. So putting our best foot forward. The yellow just recognizes where we didn't meet where we did last year. Green is growth. The lighter green is kind of we didn't meet that 80% threshold that we're always working for. You guys know Mr. Lamb is quite competitive, and as soon as the ELA scores dropped, the math and science dropped first, ELA drops a week later, he was on the phone seeing if we could find an error somewhere to get that 2% because he wanted his greens. So you can take a look at that. If you have any questions, let me know. Of course, most excited about the improvement that we are finally making over in 7th and 8th grade math. Had some great conversation with that staff this spring in preparation for everything. And as you can see, 7th grade rose to the top and are currently sitting second in that local rank that we do. So not that the other schools are doing bad. I'm not saying that. We just were able to move the needle that, and I'm proud of them. So I am going to talk a little bit about the track. A couple of things. No project goes without some hiccups. So we've had a couple. Amy, the fence, it looks gorgeous. Love it. Except for the 8-foot fence gate where we need a 12-footer. So that is coming out. So we were working with Vasco's subcontractor. They're well aware. It was an error in the drawings. We said put the gates right back where they were. It was on the architect's end. And Sam Holler got a hold of us the one day and he's like, that's not big enough. So we went down and sure enough, it wasn't. We can't fit an ambulance through. I need an ambulance to go through just in case. So that will be worked on. The other issue that we are currently working on, as you know, the pole vault and high jump was a big concern with the drainage. So while we got some of it fixed, an error in the drawing put the elevation of some of the drain work between the pole vault running lane and the south end of the track at a angle, if you will. I don't know the specific term, but Al and I walked it, and then James and Al and the architect walked it last Monday, and sure enough, it's at the wrong angle. So they'll be dropping that drain head, I guess is what it's called, and then putting in another French drain. So you will see along the south fence line is a French drain, and that's you'll see the rocks. We're not covering the rocks. That's all part of the drainage, which is the drainage underneath the stadium where the pebbles are. That is another French drain system. So those two will tie in together. So we're getting there. The other issue is they delivered red instead of black. So the last coating that needs to go on, so that is en route, and that will be a little bit of a delay. It'll be here after the holiday. We're still anticipating finishing on time. So a little bit of a hiccup, but the striping and curing, as soon as they get that down, they'll book the striper and it'll be all systems go. Knock on wood, Mother Nature has cooperated, even to the point where when they were coming out to look at the drain, it would have been nice if we had some rain. It rained Sunday night. So Al was kind of excited about that because, I mean, it really hasn't rained for the whole project. Now, I mean, I wanted not rain. I didn't mean to have not much rain, right? But anyway, so we're getting there. But Amy, we're still shooting. Yeah. Correct. It's the track surface, the actual, so striping. Yep. Yeah. So we're still shooting for your projects going off on time. So we'll do the best that we can. And I want to say thank you to the boosters too for their scholarships. This community does a fantastic job of raising money for our students, and the athlete part comes after the student part. Man, they're just doing phenomenal, both in the classroom and on the track, and or in the sports and all of it. So thank you for that. So, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, me again. Item D, Treasurer's Report, Mr. DeMarco.
So we are approaching the end of fiscal 23, so our staff has been busy, and I don't want to jinx us, but we are making very good progress with end of year. Closing out purchase orders, 6 weeks ago we had 990 open purchase orders. As of today, we're under 400, so we're getting the end of the year closed down. We're monitoring the funds for negative balances, but we're in good shape. As far as my consent agenda, the monthly financials show that there's only a handful of negative accounts, which is good. You can't end the year with any accounts being negative. Historically, athletics and food service have been the ones that needed transfers. This year, both are going to finish with a positive balance. So, especially food service, that's exceptional. They were negative 58,000 around Christmas time. Part of that is because of open purchase orders, but Denise and Jennifer Johnson, they've done an excellent job of controlling spending and managing inventory and these things that are important. The other negative balances are grants that we just haven't got our final payments yet. So those should all come in before the end of the year. But there is a note on there asking for permission if I need to make transfers to close out the school year. It's going to be probably 2 or 3, but much less than in previous years, significantly less. So we're in good shape in that regard. As far as investment income, it was over $36,000 this month, which is great. Interest rates have probably peaked, and combined, we're coming up with another low point in our cash cycle. So going forward, our income is probably going to decrease, but we've done a good job with our interest income. As far as donations, we received $12,778 this month. In addition, the boosters gave us a detailed list of their donations of uniforms and other things, which is almost $50,000. Combined of donations of cash and in-kind donations, we're approaching $175,000. More have come in since last month. The Daxton Scholarship, we just received that money. So we're looking at around $200,000 for the school year of donations, whether it's donations in kind or cash. So that's exceptional. Attached on the contract is the quotes for property and casualty. I really made a great effort to get us on the Ohio School Plan. They won't offer us. So we did get 2 quotes. Liberty, who's our current insurer, was the best. So we have a broker. That's who he recommends, and that's the one that I put on the board agenda for approval. Did receive about 30 budget and purpose statements. If you look on the agenda, there's not that many. Some I can't approve yet just because they have open purchase orders, and we're trying to get that. So it's kind of hard to get those this month, especially the athletics that are just wrapping up, prom and things like that. We have to make sure everything's paid before we can close those out. But from what you see on the board agenda, I have at least double that amount. I just can't approve all of them yet. Some of them need to be redone, but some more came in today. So in that regard, budget and purpose statements are looking good. Expect to see 20 or more on the next agenda. Final and initial appropriations for fiscal 24 are attached. So once these are approved, I'll send them to the county auditor. The big change for this year, as we're closing Shawnee, I took all the instructional purchase service, anything related to Shawnee, going into the initial budget for next year, and distributed that money to Woodlands and McCormick. So the money's been divvied up, like nobody's losing money. It's just moving to the buildings. I can't close out all the Shawnee until it's not ours anymore. So utilities, some things like that, but mostly anything attached to Shawnee operational code will be shut down July 1st. So that's something I wrapped up. And these are temporary, so my predecessor will have to do in September permanent. These are pretty permanent, but there's still some things that will have to be added. There's going to be changes between now and then. Grant money's going to come in, some other things. So at least the codes are set up. It's just some tweaks going forward. And then our auditors in our last audit said probably every 3 times is good for this size district to reappropriate. So the initial ones, and then September, and then I hope I can close it. 3 times I think is appropriate. So that's fiscal 24 though. The Huron Public Library tax budget is attached for approval. And then it took me until today, but an updated, and I kind of cleaned up aesthetically the list, is on the agenda of scholarship awardees. There's still a couple that could be added. The sheet's kind of a work in progress. But 42,733 was the total of scholarships given to outgoing seniors this year to date. And as far as Shawnee, we have 23 days now to the auction. It's up, it's running. I would expect that in the last 10 minutes is when, I don't know if it'll be dramatic like eBay where it's like the last second, but it'd be nice if we would get one early, but it's going to come down probably to the last 10 minutes of the auction. And that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions? Hey, Paul, I just have some questions. You brought up the budget and purpose statements, and I just want to be clear on what it is that what are we approving when we approve those?
So these are mini budgets basically for these funds. Because the advisors are really in charge of budgeting. I don't play a part in telling them, what to do as far as revenue, and I just make sure. The purpose for me is once I have this, then I can go into the appropriations and plug in a number. So take like junior class, right? That's a tough one because Darius does the trip at the end of the year and prom. So his initial number might be 30, 40, 50,000, but his initial balance might be $500. So, in theory, you can't let someone spend money they don't have, but the budget purpose statement allows me to greenlight negative balances. Not all districts do these. I think it's good that you know, it's maybe a chore to get them collected and everything. But without these, if somebody, you know, wants to do a trip and they want to encumber 40,000 and they only have 500 in their account, there's no way, you know, that could be allowed. So that's one reason. And you see, if you look at them, there's writing. You know, the finances right now are very fluid. I mean, every day we're closing purchase orders, we're closing things. So from the last time, you know, these advisors got their updates, they get a monthly update of what their cash balance. It might have changed significantly.
That's one of the questions I had.
So
Just
group one, they came in pretty much perfect. Group two are ones that I made, you know, just at some point you just have to draw a line and say, okay, this is your balance.
boys soccer was pretty. That's the one I printed, and I had just never seen the writing before. I just wanted to
Right.
I'm not
If it-
criticism. I'm just trying to make sure.
Yeah, if it's handwritten, it's probably my writing that, because when I go to plug these into the appropriations, you know, I kind of need a number that's accurate.
And I appreciate that. Then the two other things I just wanted to ask about for my education is on Teen Leadership Corps. This is why I asked what we're approving. Is the only thing on here. It all says miscellaneous. So I guess what we're saying is there's a certain dollar amount that you're plugging in, and then later on they renew it and tell you if they're going to have a bake sale or something like that. Or I mean, how do those things get approved after the fact?
So there is a separate form for fundraisers. That's
Okay.
a separate process.
Because I know a lot of them have with their fundraiser
Right.
plans.
Football is really good. You know, they do a lot, and they're really good at their paperwork because they've done it for a long time. So fundraising form is different, but yeah, I don't like the miscellaneous. And it's not abused.
That's the only one I saw like
Right.
that.
But if the dollar amounts, maybe they just don't know what their fundraisers are yet. But they have a dollar amount in gold, you know.
And they turned it in.
So you know, they turned it in, which is good.
I think the only other thing I had a question on is when does the superintendent sign? Because I noticed.
Yeah.
Is it after?
Well, it's
Typically, or
these
just-
are. I'll get them all.
Gotcha. Okay, I do.
Dr. Tatman was on the. I just
Yeah.
received these last month.
On the
so.
Erie Canal. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I'm sorry, I didn't.
I just have a
I'd
question
like to get a more complete
Yeah.
list for them there.
Good. No problem.
About
Thanks.
your, the appropriations that you need to look at again, because usually it is athletics and food service that we end up. Can you share with us where the shortfalls have fallen this time?
Well, those two, they're going to finish positive. Oh, you mean what else?
Yeah.
So we had. I'm going to pull up the cash statement. Holly received a grant for $5,000, and she ran it like she's always run it. Cause I mean, she squeezes every penny of that $5,000, so she runs it right to the end of the year, and she's done it how she's always done it. This year they said no, this was due the 1st of June, and you didn't send your report. So that's like 4,800. We're still trying to. So that might be that's a maybe. The other one, and I've been working with the Hall of Fame banquet. That's another tough one because you encumber the expenses with the expectation of selling tickets and other things. That's negative 1,200 right now. I'm not quite sure how, other than a general fund transfer to fix that. So I know Hall of Fame has been a tough one, and that's one of those. It's just, you know, you're expecting to sell tickets or get donations, and this year it came up short. And then of like regular things, that's the two. The other ones, there's a lot right now, but there's grants that we're waiting on getting that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. Dr. Tatman.
All right. Good evening. So it feels like a long time ago, but we had commencement, and that went really well. You always kind of hold your breath a little bit at commencement that, you know, will a kid make a silly choice or do something off the wall? And we didn't have that. It was a great event, great celebration of the students' accomplishments, and for the staff that were there, I appreciate them being there. I know it's hard with being a holiday weekend and other life commitments that we don't always have perfect attendance by staff, but overall that was wonderful. And then the rest of the student body ended at the end of May and very beginning of June, and staff have been out. So things have been happening though. We have the movers are coming tomorrow, and I've been part of theatrics, performing arts, and you plan, you prepare, you orchestrate, you get ready. Tomorrow's opening night, as far as I'm concerned, with the movers. And so I was on vacation a couple days last week, and so today I took some time. Julie and I walked around Shawnee, and then I went over to Woodlands and McCormick just to see how ready we are. And really, the staff worked hard. So they took the time that they were given in the spring. They took more than that out of their personal time to get those boxes packed, get them ready, labeled. So I have confidence that we're ready to move the staff stuff. When I went over to Woodlands, Mark was taking me around, showing me all the classrooms. They already, in the 2 weeks of summer, have waxed and prepared classrooms. So as the movers come in, they'll be able to put it right in the classroom that it's going to be. There's already some classrooms where they had internal movements that are already set. It looks like they could have students tomorrow. So I'm really impressed with our staff that prepared their rooms, and then the support staff and the summer crew that have been working hard already getting ready for this move. So tomorrow will be a big day. The truck will be at Woodlands to start, pick up all the 6th grade materials, take it to McCormick, and then come over here and start loading the truck. I don't know how many they'll have on their crew, but they have plans for 4 days. So I'm guessing they're going to have a big crew, 8 or 10 or more people working with a big truck. But that's the exciting stuff that's happening this summer, and we'll be ready. And then working with Julie, Julie's led the work on planning for closing Shawnee sort of celebration memorial event, and that's going to be this Saturday at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. So at 10 o'clock, we'll kick it off. I'll give a brief welcome, and then John will have an opportunity to address the crowd. Brian will have some words, and then we'll open up the building for staff, for any guests to go, walk the halls, see their old classroom or see their students' old classroom, and all art on the wall and those kind of things. But for the most part, everything will be cleared out. So really, as we think about the move, everybody is ready except for one group, and that'd be us at the central office. We've packed very little and prepared very little, but we're sort of waiting until July 12th to know what our absolute get out date is, and if it's hopefully, fingers crossed, it's earlier than we are ready for, but we're waiting for that. No sense in packing just to kind of hang out. But that's what's going on with that. If there's any questions about the agenda items under the superintendent's recommendations, I can answer those. Other than that, that's what we got. Happy summer. Buddy?
This might be better asked under new business, and if it is, just let me know. The information that Mr. Shank shared about the leads and everything.
Yeah.
Could that be an opportunity for community service for students like we do with the Butterfly Garden, or?
Yeah. So
like
I'm already thinking that when we did the Veterans Day program for senior citizens, we had the Boy Scouts kind of lead them into the gym. So I'm going to reach out to the Boy Scout troop to see if they want to get some service hours. And then also we always have NHS and other groups looking for service hours. And there might be an athletic team that the coach says, you know what, we value service hours, and this is what we're going to do as a team bonding activity. So I think there are creative solutions for that. And looking at the pictures, he's right. It needs better maintenance, right? It needs better care. Those are things that, as you're going through the spring into the summer, it's like, I'll do it tomorrow, and well, we're past that. So weeds continue to grow, and we need to address them.
And what do we do about the flag?
And the flags.
The flag?
Yeah, so I'm going to check the flag. I heard we might have had one donated to us for the school on on Ohio Street. SE referenced it on Ohio Street. But if not, we'll buy a new flag because we need to have that up and flying and ready to go. And all of our custodians have that text alert through the VFW that when there's a half-mast alert, they get a text alert, so it's accurate as we go, and we all text each other, making sure that we have them set. So, yeah, I'm gonna look into that.
You brought it up, and I asked him to come. I said, "Why don't you come and tell us?" Because that's how it's gonna get done, not me. You know, but no.
These are
Right,
at
from
McCormick,
This is at McCormick.
front area.
Because I don't even call. All right, thanks.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so now we just need a motion to approve items, the consent agenda, items 5 through 7.
So moved.
Thank you.
I will second.
Thank you. Discussion?
I just have one question. Yeah,
Oh.
on the approval of the minutes, we have May 15th, we have June special meeting, June 12th meeting. We list June 15th, but we don't have it.
Right.
Right,
I don't,
those-
we just gave them the,
Completed the, right as the meetings.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
typed and printed. I couldn't, I would have to end the meeting to load those.
and but are we gonna include them?
Yes.
I mean, it's fine with, yeah.
I mean, there's,
Yeah.
there's a paper written copy here.
He didn't get the notes. So, but thank you. Okay. All right, so no questions, so Mr. DeMarco?
Stomp
You
these
can
flags a little bit. Mrs. Henners. No, I'm sorry. Hartley.
Yes.
Mast.
Yes.
Mrs. Henners.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes. Okay, item 9, Dr. Tapman.
So item 9, there's a first reading for 2 policies. They're both about no tobacco use on district property. This is in alignment with state and federal law. I think last year we looked at it. It was initiated by the county department of health, and the policy that they suggested was a little more than this. So Luann and I checked with OSBA, who is our policy advisor, and they said, well, your current policy is out of date. What the Department of Health is recommending is beyond what you need to do. So these policies attached on here are what OSBA recommends because they're in compliance with the law. And when I shared them with the Department of Health, they said, yep, these look good to us. So it satisfies them as well. Not that we're setting policy for them. But in that communication, I did say, hey, we're probably going to need some additional signage. And so they offered complimentary signage that they're going to send to us. And so we'll see what they look like, and then we'll post them up, you know.
Great. It's free for me.
Just a question.
Sure.
The one concern, and this is, I don't know whether it's an issue or not, because I can't say I've noticed a lot of people smoking at events, but it really had to do more with like adults at particularly extracurricular events. Let's say I step outside a basketball game to have a cigarette, and again, I'm not out there, so I don't know if it happens.
Right.
I think just, like, what's our thought on how to prepare our staff to enforce that piece of the policy?
Yeah, so I would say the admin on site for that event, the site manager, they'll need to be prepared to prompt the adult, hey, board policy, federal law says you can't smoke on school grounds.
They have to go out to like the sidewalk or somewhere.
Correct,
public to do
yeah.
that.
And we don't have to be nasty about it
Right.
or confrontational about it. Usually the person says, oh, that's right, and they put it out or they finish it real quick. But yeah, we will have to have a little bit of training for those faculty managers or site supervisors that aren't always a principal or an administrator.
Same thing with the vaping. That seems to be like a continual challenge to identify, and I feel like part of that's just educating adults on how to like spot the signs, right? Because gosh darn it, like folks are pretty tricky about how they
hide it.
sneak that stuff.
Oh my
Yeah, if only
God.
could harness that power for good instead of that. But yeah, I think with the health department, when we looked at it, and Julie, I don't know if you recall, but the policy didn't feel like it would breathe. Like it was so specific that it felt like we'd be changing it constantly. And that was kind of why not that we didn't agree with the overall philosophy of it, but just the execution didn't feel right for us.
And I would say too, as staff are administering this policy, it's a reminder too of like there is such thing as nicotine addiction, and sometimes people who are agitated calm down when they have a cigarette. So if they go out to smoke because it's an intense event that they're at, you need to remind them and encourage them to go off campus to do that. But you also don't want to be confrontational that now an agitated person is arguing with you over what they can and can't do. So yeah, there is that like fine like that right approach that gets the message across, and it's really important for our students to not be exposed to it for their own health, but also not be exposed to it so that they think it's 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 cool or acceptable. So yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so item, no, I'm sorry. Item 9B. Community representative, obviously, we don't have a Hall of Fame. Mrs. Mass, do you have anything to?
Well, I
Have
did go to
yourself
the
put it in.
boosters meeting, and it was exactly what was shared tonight. So, just again, our thanks to the boosters for all they do for our students and student athletes, and we're very blessed to have you in our district. So, thank you.
With the Hall of Fame banquet running at a loss, is there like any sort of like thought to kind of either revamping that event or like just not getting the attendance? I don't know what drove the loss, but
That is not under boosters.
that might be best. That might be
That's
more
Yeah.
best. Yeah. No, please.
Yeah, I mean,
You're here.
it's recorded. I think it was late. It was late this year, and I know the invitations didn't go out until like really late. Like you said, I don't know who's. But it comes out of our general fund, Paul? Hall of Fame banquet?
It's its own
Fund, but I mean, it's.
But when it runs negative, then it needs to be supported.
So,
Is that like a note for Steve, I guess?
we
You
need
know,
to get more involved in the Hall of Fame banquet.
or,
Right?
or
I
if
don't mean
it's-
us, I just
no,
mean.
but I mean if it's an event that just needs to be rethought because like the traditional dinner / banquet is just there's just
Run
not
its
the
course, right,
yeah. Then
right.
there's probably ways to do like a dessert or something that's less
I would agree
like
with you.
money intensive, or we can use our facility rather than rent like a Messenburg. I don't know what the deal is, but just so I mean, listen, there's hiccups every year, but just so it doesn't become a repetitive, it seems like something that should be relatively self-sustaining.
Seems like an opportunity for us to hopefully at least break even,
Right.
rather
right.
than they were in debt.
And like
over-
1,200 is not gonna
No, I
make or
know,
break our
but-
day, but you hate to see it slide, backwards.
I
Well, and I
appreciate
think
that,
too, anytime we can get community members in our buildings instead of renting a facility,
Right.
I think that's to our benefit.
And the high school cafeteria has,
And it's been
part of the
great events.
redesign of it
Yeah.
was
Right.
for community events, the
Right.
tables and the chairs and
Right.
all that.
And I don't know how many attend.
I don't
you
either.
think like for the people who are coming back to here, and it's kind of cool to come
Be
back
nice
to
to-
the high
yeah.
school and walk around and see the gym, see the football field. So there's some nostalgia there that you don't get in like a
Totally
banquet
agree.
room, right?
I-
And
yeah.
the price is right, like really right. So
Yeah, that's good feedback.
just to know, I don't want like
Totally.
not looking to micromanage it. Just a note to maybe drill
No,
down.
I-
on that.
I didn't know that we supported it when it wasn't self-sufficient.
Sure,
So-
I never realized that either.
Learn something new
Well,
every day.
and Steve was trying to get them or something, but I mean, it's the end of the year, so we eventually you'd have to.
Close the book.
Right.
Get it?
Anything else there? Ehovie Career Center, not anything that directly reflects on here, and other than saw some kids last week. We took a tour of their summer camp. I don't know if you all looked at. I'm sure you know the brochure that had all the. it was amazing. It was only 2 sessions, 2 classes we were not able to hold. Most all the rest of them had a waiting list. And the kids, you talk about being engaged. I mean, here's this board members, board members coming in. There was no panic. They just kept on doing what they were supposed to do, and they would stop and say, "You want me to tell you what I'm doing?" I'm like, "Wow!" I mean, So if you happen to have anything you can offer, they are looking for more instructors. They're looking for more classes, summer camp. I have somebody I'm already talking to about presenting something. Photographer, and he writes poetry and all this other stuff. So it was really eye-opening to go around and see that. That was really neat. And it's only a week. It's not, and it's like $65 a session. So anyway, so that's what's happening at OD. OSB legislative institute. As I've said all the time, that's just a tough one because there's so much, as you all know, legislative action going on. There's no way I could go through all the pages and pages, and I know you get it. Yeah, so I mean, I'm happy. I think this is basically annual conference. Is all this really is. So, but I will take any questions if somebody wants to do something. One of the things I intended to do actually a while ago is, in fact, Mrs. Matt kind of brought it up. We need to add probably other business. It's just a line on here so that if something comes up.
New business or something?
Something that allows us. Because I wanted to bring up, I would like us to consider inviting Dr. McDonald to our special meeting this Monday. Because she's obviously heavily involved in grants and the finances, and I wanted to get everybody's opinion. I didn't want a decision on my own.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
Do we need to make a motion?
I don't think so. Let me just ask her very kindly.
If she's available?
Next Monday at 5 o'clock.
She's busy.
Okay. I figured that. Okay. So, funny, but I mean, just a little extra. So, thank you. And I don't know if we're going to go in executive session that I'm aware of.
I don't believe so.
And so that being said, obviously the next meeting is actually June 26th at 5 a.m. here. 5 a.m.
Don, I will not be here at 5 a.m.
Wow. I know. He must be here sometimes when I go, Man, I don't know where that came from. 5 p.m. And I have not heard from her. So I will let you know.
Just a point of
Sure.
order for we can do new business in a regularly scheduled meeting. We can't have new business in a special meeting.
Oh, right. Sure.
So just,
know that.
if you're going to format it, that's
No, we'll do, yes.
higher sunshine law fun fact of the day, but just so we stay on the right side of that. Because I think our old format did have it. It was super confusing.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
Thank you.
So the next regular scheduled meeting is July 17th at 6 a.m. 6 p.m. Probably try again. Okay. That being said, I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Well. Oh. Mr. Markham, you
That's
want
why
to
we
just
created
consent or whatever, however you want to.
Those are actually flops, and you put pictures of that.
Yes, that's what I asked.
Okay, yep.
I
So for
know.
$1 million, you can have it. Just throw your bid in.
You can get in the
I
game.
think we
You
broke
can
our
get in the
record.
game at least.
Yeah, no problem. And hit this with a picture
Ah.
if you don't mind. Yeah. Our,
Is this on? It is not.
oh,
Sorry, sir. John, these are not.
I know. That's what
Okay.
I just,
Okay, I just wanted to know.
I put down.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Ian?